High on a hillside orchard, where the sun shone golden and the breeze danced through the leaves, grew a little avocado named Avo. He dangled from his branch with dozens of brothers and sisters, all clustered together like a big green family. Most of them were content to sway in the sunlight, nap in the shade, and gossip about which human might pluck them first. But not Avo. Avo was curious. At night, while the others dreamed of becoming guacamole or fancy toast, Avo whispered to the stars, "I wonder what's beyond the orchard. What's at the bottom of the hill? What lies past the river, or the mountains, or the sea?" The elder avocado chuckled. "Silly Avo," he said. "We're avocados. We don't go on adventures. We ripen, we fall, and that's that." But Avo wasn't so sure. One breezy morning, while bees buzzed and finches sang, a strong gust shook the tree. Snap! Avo tumbled free from his branch. "Whoa!" he cried as he rolled, bounced, and somersaulted down the grassy hill. Past daisies, past rocks, past startled bunnies he went, until, plop, he landed in a patch of clover. When the world stopped spinning, Avo blinked. "I fell, but I'm okay." For the first time in his life, he wasn't clinging to the tree. He was free. And so, Avo's adventure began. As Avo dusted himself off, a voice piped up. "Well, well, what have we here?" From the soil popped a pink, wiggly worm with a friendly grin. "I'm Wiggles," said the worm. "And you are?" "I'm Avo," said the avocado. "I'm on an adventure." Wiggles tilted his head. "Adventure? Most fruit I meet just sit around." "Not me," said Avo proudly. "I want to see the world." "Well then," said Wiggles, "every adventurer needs a guide. Follow me." Avo smiled. A traveling companion sounded perfect. The two friends soon came to a rushing river. The water gurgled and splashed as if daring them to cross. "Oh dear," said Wiggles. "I can wiggle, but I can't swim." "And I float," Avo realized. "Maybe that's our ticket across." So Wiggles hopped on Avo's back, and together they bobbed into the current. The river carried them swiftly downstream. "Whee!" cheered Wiggles. Avo laughed too, until they hit a rock. Thunk! "Hold on!" cried Avo, spinning in the current. But with a wiggle here and a fart-like squeak from Wiggles there, worms make funny noises when nervous, they managed to steer around the obstacles. Finally, they drifted safely to the other side. "See," said Avo proudly, "we make a good team." Beyond the river lay a wide meadow full of flowers. But as Avo rolled happily through the grass, a shadow loomed. 4 prickly pine cones blocked the path. "Well, looky here," sneered the biggest pine cone. "A round, green, squishy thing." "He doesn't belong here," said another. "Let's push him back to the river," cackled the third. Avo quivered. He had never met bullies before. But Wiggles slithered forward bravely. "Leave him alone. He's on a quest." The pine cones laughed. "A quest? Ha!" Avo gulped. "Yes, a quest. To see the world, to find where I belong." Something in his voice was so firm, so certain, that the pine cones paused. Finally, the biggest one muttered, "Fine, but don't expect us to cheer you on." Avo and Wiggles hurried past, hearts pounding. "Thanks, Wiggles," Avo whispered. "Any time," said his loyal friend. Days later, they reached a towering mountain. Its rocky face stretched into the clouds. Avo stared upward. "How can we ever climb that?" "Step by step," said Wiggles, "or roll by roll." So Avo began to roll, bouncing from stone to stone. It wasn't easy. Sometimes he slipped, sometimes he nearly tumbled back down, but Wiggles encouraged him every inch of the way. At last, breathless but determined, they reached the peak. From there, Avo could see everything: the orchard in the distance, the glittering river, and far beyond, the endless blue ocean. "It's beautiful," Avo whispered, and for the first time, he felt like a true adventurer. But adventures aren't always easy. As they descended the mountain, dark clouds gathered. The sky rumbled. Then came the rain, sheets of it, drenching everything. Thunder boomed. Lightning cracked. The wind shoved Avo so hard he nearly rolled into a gorge. "I'm scared!" cried Avo. "Hold on to me!" shouted Wiggles, wrapping around Avo's stem. Together they braved the storm. They found shelter in a hollow log and huddled there until morning. When the sun finally rose, Avo peeked out. The world sparkled with raindrops. He had survived his first storm, and somehow he felt stronger. At last, Avo and Wiggles reached the seashore. The waves crashed and foamed, stretching further than Avo could see. "This is it," said Avo, "the edge of the world." "Not the edge," corrected Wiggles. "The beginning of something new." Avo felt his pit thump with excitement. "Then let's keep going." They built a little raft from driftwood and seaweed. Avo climbed aboard with Wiggles curled safely on top. Together they set sail, bobbing on the waves. Out in the open sea, they met marvelous creatures. A pod of dolphins leapt around them, chattering joyfully. A gentle sea turtle offered them a ride on her shell. Colorful fish darted by in schools, painting rainbows in the water. "Wow," breathed Avo. "The world is even bigger and more beautiful than I ever dreamed." "See," said Wiggles, "it was worth leaving the tree." But just then a dark shadow loomed beneath the waves. From the depths rose a shark with sharp teeth and hungry eyes. "Well, what do we have here?" it growled. "A tasty green morsel for my lunch." Avo froze. Was this how his story would end? But Wiggles shouted, "Wait! He's not food! He's an adventurer!" The shark tilted his head. "An adventurer? Ha! What could a little fruit possibly do?" Gathering his courage, Avo spoke. "I can float rivers, climb mountains, survive storms, and sail seas. I may look small, but I have a big journey to finish." The shark stared at him for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, it grinned. "Brave words for a little avocado. Fine, I'll let you pass. But remember, sometimes courage is tastier than fear." And with that, the shark swam away. After many days at sea, Avo and Wiggles spotted land, a sunny island with palm trees and flowers. They floated ashore, weary but excited. "This place feels right," Avo murmured. They explored the island and discovered soft soil, fresh water, and plenty of sunshine. Wiggles wriggled happily into the dirt. And then Avo had an idea. "What if I planted myself here?" Wiggles looked up. "You mean grow into a tree?" Avo nodded. "I've traveled so far, maybe this is where I'm meant to stay and start something new." So Avo nestled into the soil. He closed his eyes and felt the earth embrace him. Days turned into weeks, and something magical happened. Avo began to sprout. Tiny roots stretched downward. A small stem reached upward. Wiggles tended to him every day, keeping the soil moist and warm. Before long, Avo had become a young avocado tree, his leaves swaying gently in the ocean breeze. He was no longer just one avocado on a branch. He was the beginning of a whole new orchard. And though his wandering days were over, his adventure had planted something greater, a future full of life, shade, and fruit. Years later, travelers who visited the island rested beneath Avo's wide branches. They marveled at his shiny fruit and enjoyed the cool shade. Birds built nests in his leaves. Crabs scuttled beneath his roots. And every so often, a new avocado would tumble to the ground and whisper to the wind, "I wonder what lies beyond the orchard." And so, Avo's spirit of adventure lived on in every seed, in every journey yet to come. Wiggles, now a wise old worm, often told young creatures the story of his best friend. Remember, he would say, Avo showed us that it's okay to be curious. It's okay to be different. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take the first tumble into the unknown. And if you ever visit that sunny island, you might hear the wind rustle through the avocado tree's leaves, whispering Avo's message. Adventure is everywhere if you're brave enough to begin.